Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to the wonderful world of Case Middle School. On behalf of myself, Mrs. Blair, and the entire middle school staff, I would like to welcome you to our 8th grade award ceremony. This has definitely been a year for the record books. I would like to take a moment to congratulate you for all your hard work and effort during these very challenging times. And when I say you, I don't just mean the students, but I also mean the teachers and especially the parents or guardians. I know that all of you have worked very diligently trying to figure out this virtual education process. Before we get to the awards, I want to share some thoughts about mindsets, fixed and growth, that I think may help you be more successful as you move across the bridge to the 9th grade. And I'm sure you're wondering, what's a mindset, fixed or growth? In a fixed mindset, people believe their qualities are fixed traits and therefore cannot change. They also believe that talent alone leads to success and effort is not required. Alternatively, in a growth mindset, people have an underlying belief that their learning and intelligence can grow with time and experience. When people believe that they can become smarter, they realize that their effort has an effect on their success. So they put in extra time, leading to more success. I am now going to share some quotes with you pertaining to a growth mindset. My hope is that some of them will help you be a better learner, a better leader, and be a better community member. Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to just try one more time. Thomas Edison. The best way to treat obstacles is to use them as stepping stones. Laugh at them, tread on them, and let them lead you to something better. Enid Blyton. Life's challenges are not supposed to paralyze you. They're supposed to help you discover who you are. Bernice Johnson Reagan. Nothing is predestined. The obstacles of your past can become the gateways that lead to new beginnings. Ralph Blum. When it is dark enough, you can see the stars. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Being challenged in life is inevitable. Being defeated is optional. Roger Crawford. Often, it isn't the mountains ahead that wear you out, it's the little pebble in your shoe. Muhammad Ali. How you think when you lose determines how long it will be until you win. Gilbert Keith Chesterton. All the adversity I've had in my life, all my troubles and obstacles have strengthened me. You may not realize it when it happens, but a kick in the teeth may be the best thing in the world for you. Walt Disney. Failure will never overtake me if my determination to succeed is strong enough. Og Mandino. There are better starters than me, but I am a strong finisher. Usain Bolt. It always seems impossible until it's done. Nelson Mandela. It's hard to beat a person who never gives up. Babe Ruth. I'm a great believer in luck, and I find the harder I work, the more I have of it. Thomas Jefferson. If people knew how hard I had to work to gain my mastery, it would not seem so wonderful at all. Michelangelo. We generate fears while we sit. We overcome them by action. Dr. Henry Link. What you lack in talent can be made up with desire, hustle, and giving 110% all the time. Don Zimmer. Reading is to the mind as exercise is to the body. Brian Tracy. It's not that I'm so smart, it's just that I stay with problems longer. Albert Einstein. A truly strong person does not need the approval of others any more than a lion needs the approval of sheep. Vernon Howard. Sometimes you don't realize your own strength until you come face to face with your greatest weakness. Susan Gale. Once people take ownership of the decision to receive feedback, they're less defensive about it. Adam Grant. We all need people who will give us feedback. That's how we improve. Bill Gates. You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. C.S. Lewis. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Niedermeyer, who is going to be handing out the Art Awards.
Good evening. Hello, everyone. These are the Art Awards for this very strange year. Before I give out the awards, though, I do want to say it's a really great year with my 8th graders, a lot of amazing artists, and it was actually very difficult to choose all these awards and kind of pare it down, and actually I still have a lot of awards to read. So the first award that I have is for Excellence in Art for the following students: Vega Schenk, Tony Ostrowski, Anya Taylor, Samantha Renzi, Julia Marzano, Ruth Angelica, Alec Lowry, and Elizabeth Leva. The next award goes to the best art during a pandemic, and that goes to the following student, Tajiri Gaskin. The next award is for most creative for the following students: Ruby Maitland, Haley Thomas, Mary Jasmine, Abigail Keller, and Chenille Mullings. The following award, one of my personal favorites, for the coolest skull drawing, goes to Damian Ashley. Another great award, the best SpongeBob art, that goes to Miranda Ramos. The next category is Excellence in Painting for the following students: Natalie Lassiter, Brooklyn Jones, and Jillian Maurer. The next category is for Best Portrait Drawings from Annette Gould and Michael Schofield. The next category is for Excellence in Drawing for the following students: Lorelei Vaughn, Maya Voss, Camden Corbet, Chloe Hoover, and Janessa King. And the final category we have for Excellence in Illustration for the following students: Ada Lugo, Bella Cavalerio, Haley Heesh, Lily Forbes, Mia Penna, and Ava Lee. And now I would like to introduce for the next awards we have Miss Reichart and Miss Schwellness.
Thank you, Mr. Niedermeyer. Mrs. Schwellness and I are very happy to be here to present on behalf of Team Caring, and we're representing Mrs. Millard, Mrs. Otot, and Mr. Radley, who cannot be with us today. The first award that we'd like to list is the highest averages.
So the highest average in the English Language Arts, ELA, is Lorelei Vaughn.
For Math 8, Tony Ostrowski.
Algebra, Ruth Angelica Quinal.
Social Studies, and this is my class, so I have to say a little bit about this student. He consistently did the best on geography quizzes. I could always count on him to be my geography all-star. That goes to Jonah Stone.
The highest average in Science 8 is Parker Moffett, and the highest average in Living Environment is Evan Otot.
Our Most Improved Award for the year goes to a student who hasn't always liked school very much in the traditional sense. However, now that we've been at home on this COVID break, she's become an absolute rock star. She's always diligent about checking in on our Zoom meetings. She gets her work done and is almost always one of the first ones to get it done. So our Most Improved Award goes to Patricia Wood.
The highest overall average goes to Ruth Quinal.
And our Pillar of Character Award for Team Caring goes to a student who is always willing to lend a hand and who I have personally seen intervene and stop bullying in its tracks. That goes to Montana Evans. Up next presenting is Mr. Hazard.
Good evening. I have the pleasure of giving the awards for Team Respect, although full transparency, I left a Zoom meeting early and then they emailed me later and said, "You're up for awards night, it's going to be awesome." They told me it was because I have jokes, but I don't know. It might just, never leave a Zoom meeting too early, as some of our students have figured out, right? But no, I'm always very happy to be up here giving these awards. These kids have worked phenomenally hard, not only in the classroom, but from home as well. I mean, we all felt like we worked hard today, like some of us shaved for the first time this month. I had to get a haircut, I had to put on pants, I had to find the ironing board, it's been a while. But what's awesome about tonight is we're rewarding the kids that regardless of COVID and regardless of quarantine, they kept working hard. Otherwise, they would not be on this list being honored tonight. So for the first award for Mrs. King's ELA class, a student that we've all definitely missed very much, works extremely hard, always asks questions, does better the next time. I think I've gotten more questions about his passion project than any other student combined, because he wants to make sure he does his best, and that's the kind of kid he is. Brady Goldenfinnig. For math, Mr. Reynolds wanted to give this award to a student that I can tell you for social studies works extremely hard as well, wants to do very well, asks great questions. While some people give me the minimum in Google Classroom in COVID, he is giving me complete sentences and then some. When I had a student teacher, he would pop in and find me during the day and say, "Hey, it's great to see you, hope to see you again tomorrow." Just one of the nicest kids I've ever had the pleasure of working with. Antonio Marzano. And also for Mr. Reynolds, in algebra, and again, a phenomenal social studies student as well, always with his hand up, always with a comment, wanted to share something that he'd found, and I'm sure he's the same in math. Connor Laporte. For social studies, my class award, this goes to a student that I have no doubt that she's going to do something very, very important someday. She kind of finished second last year. I've had these students for 2 years now, and she was right at the top last year. Especially if it was just based on discussion and debate, she'd have it, because if anybody says something that's not with her knowledge and information, that is not okay, and they will know it. And that's awesome. She doesn't take anything from anybody, and that's why she's going to be successful. Vega Schenk. For Mr. Green's science class, this student in particular, I mean, she was an awesome student already. I've had her for 2 years. I did not realize until our Zoom meetings, though, that it's always a dance party in her room. She's always got music going, and it's really good music from like my generation, which is interesting. So we sang some Stacy's Mom the other day. It was good stuff. But apparently the dance party's always on. She puts the mute button on, but you can still see the ponytail going. That's awesome. But she's clearly doing her work for science and for everybody else. Camden Corbett. And for living environment for Mr. Green, another student that works hard in every class that he's in. It's one of those things where if he doesn't have 100, there's going to be a question coming because something's wrong with the force at that point. Weston Butenmuller. Most improved, honestly, when we closed down in March, I didn't think this student's name would appear here, but honestly, when I think about online learning and people turning things in and showing up and doing what they needed to do, this is a student that actually really shined giving us things virtually and was doing just as much, if not more, work online than he was when we were in school, and was really refreshing to see was Devin Harvey. Highest overall average for all the classes, and it was close because we have some really phenomenal students, but she's always with a smile, always working hard, kind of flies under the radar, but she's like that secret ninja in the corner that you know is going to do something awesome eventually. Maya Voss. And then our pillar of citizenship for Team Respect, somebody that, again, she's been to all the Zoom meetings, turns everything in, very conscientious, great in the classroom and online, and has just impressed all of us ever since we met her last year, Tajri Gaskin. And with that, we'll turn it over to Team Fairness with Mr. Todd.
Well, it's always hard to follow Mr. Hazard. And I guess as a growth mindset, as Mr. Taylor said, I should be happy, and at least I didn't have to follow him and Miss Gosier, because they really are great presenters. Mr. Hazard talked about getting a haircut. I obviously have not. I have not had my hair long in this, maybe in 25 years, one of these days. I'm here, my name is Mr. Todd. I'm here to represent Team Fairness. And the rest of my team is not here, but I will try to give you an idea of why they might have awarded these awards, because every single student on our list is an amazing student for our team. They could have had any of the awards that were there. They happen to have the highest in that particular class, but they really are great students overall. So our first award is for ELA, and for Miss Nierbin, I will say that this student is the consummate worker. She is always questioning, she is always inquisitive, and I never have seen her without a book in her hand. So she's perfect for ELA, and it's Marla McDonald. For math, Miss Dickinson probably had the easiest job here because this student is the highest average on our team. She is always in for extra help, even though she probably doesn't need it. She is a wonderful person when it comes to studying, but also helping her classmates, Ava Lee. I teach social studies, so for me in social studies there are lots of students that I could pick, but by far the top student in social studies for a multitude of reasons, but the largest being that she never says a word, and yet she always knows the right answer, and she will very quietly share it with anyone she sits next to, and it's Trinity Thomas. For science, it's a little bit different. The student is maybe not your classic student, but he's the top in virtually every class. He, I think, would be the first to admit that he's a lot different than his classmates, and that's a wonderful thing, and it's Desai Holland. Our most improved award, we actually took a little bit different way. We didn't have a student who stood out as hugely improving academically, although I'm sure there are many, but one student did stand out because of his change in social kind of standing, I guess you would say. He, in 7th grade, we have students that flip from 7th grade into our 8th grade program, so we get to know them very well. In 7th grade, he was not quite the leader that he is in 8th grade. We had a great discussion in one of our Zoom meetings 2 weeks ago about social influencers, and I think that this student could become a social influencer at some point. He has that much the ear of his classmates now in 8th grade. So Devin Connell is the award winner for that. Our highest overall average, I've already said, she's just an amazing student all the way around, is Ava Lee. And finally, I want to say more than a couple of words about our Pillar of Fairness Award winner. If you knew what she went through, is what I would say. Kind of a classic statement. If you knew everything that she has gone through, and still every single day in my class she comes in with a smile on her face, and you know the pain that's there, and yet she's always, and I don't say this tritely or easily, she is the nicest student that has ever entered my classroom. She has every excuse in the world to have a grudge or to be angry, and she's not. She is a phenomenal person. She will do amazing things. Jaden Keenan. Those are the awards for Team Fairness. Next up is Home and Careers, and Ms. Moore.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here and to recognize some of our 8th graders for Home and Careers. I'm going to start with Ms. Morge's classes: Alex Matutek, Evan Otot, and Katora Moody. In my class, some of the shining stars for semester 1: Cameron Collin, Lillian G., Brady Gudenfenn, Seth Charlton, Connor Laporte, and Jaden Keene. Semester 2: Daniel Maurer, Peyton McConnell, Nathan Nessier, Nicholas Verne, and my Seamstress Award for the year is Maya Voss. Just an awesome job with her tote bag, just a wonderful student. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Mrs. Boyce, and I'm here to give the health awards for myself and Mrs. Pritchard. So the first award I'd like to give is our Shining Star Award. And this is to our students who are role models in the classroom. They are leaders, they participate, they have the best effort. My award, my Shining Star, is Chloe Hoover. And Mrs. Pritchard's Shining Star is George Weir. We also gave an At-Home Learning Star Award, and these were kids who just really lit it up at home. We were just so impressed with everything that they did. My At-Home Learning Star, and we've heard this name before, Patricia Wood. And Mrs. Pritchard's At-Home Learning Star is Anaya Carpenter. And I would like to introduce Madame Foltz for French.
Bonsoir tout le monde. I said this during the 7th grade, just in case you watched both 7th and 8th grade, that I get to wait all year just to say bonsoir on this evening, because usually I'm saying bonjour. And now it's nighttime and I can actually say bonsoir. So, I hope that you are all doing well. I miss you, and this is kind of weird doing an award ceremony with just teachers watching us, but that's okay, because you're watching us online. We know you're out there. So I have two people that I would like to recognize for the French 1 award, and their names have both been mentioned, and I love to see on these award nights how well French students do overall. Like, there just seems to be some hidden inner drive for my French students doing well in other classes as well. So these two students are Connor Laporte and Camden Corbett. And both of them worked really, really hard this year and asked lots of good questions and wanted to correct work, even if it was like a 99.7, they still wanted to get it corrected all the way up to 100. And it's a bit of a jump from 7th grade French up to 8th grade French, taking things, well, we still have lots of fun. We sing and dance, but it's a high school level class, so you got to take it a step further. And I'm just really proud of all my French 1 students. So, good job. And not to forget, I am introducing Senora Gojer for our Spanish.
Buenas noches to all of my level 1 students. So I don't typically go the super academic route and read a quote, but I decided to, and I just found a great one. So I'm going to tell you what it is. And it says, "With languages, you are at home anywhere." And that was said by Edward DeWall, and that's assuming I read his name right because it's in a really crazy font. But what's so amazing about this is one of the biggest parts of being a language teacher is that we get to teach children of all ages and hopefully their parents something deeper than "puedo ir al baño," our favorite phrase, "can I go to the bathroom?" Instead, I get to help you become a global citizen. And the following students have officially made themselves at home across the world because they have dedicated themselves to learning languages and embracing cultures that don't necessarily mirror those that they practice at home. So tonight, I would like to congratulate a winner from Mrs. Coyer, Lillian Johnson, and my winners, a couple repeat names, which makes me proud because they are clearly stretching their wings across many different types of content. Miss Maya Voss, Weston Butenmuller, Andrea Doan, and Tajri Gaskin. Welcome home. And up next is my next favorite thing, physical education with Coach Laviendo.
Good evening. The Physical Education Award is being awarded to 2 students in the 8th grade. The students receiving the Physical Education Award were prepared for class and respectful to their peers. They showed phenomenal effort while participating in each of our units, as well as working with others in team settings. Along with their hard work at the beginning of the school year, we are confident that these students are finding ways to stay physically active while we are learning from home. The award recipient from Mr. Van Ostren's class is Preston Soluri. The award recipient from Miss Labiendo's class is Peyton McConnell. Next up is Mr. Hurst with the band awards.
Good evening. I'm also going to recycle my quote from the last ceremony, so if you were watching, or teachers if you were here, sorry about that, but it's one of my favorites. So most of the kids know that Beethoven is my favorite composer, so one of my favorite quotes of his is, "To play a wrong note is insignificant, but to play without passion is inexcusable." These are all students who found an excuse, or never found an excuse to play without passion. Wrong notes, right notes, they just always gave it everything they had and were always 100% committed, whether it was lessons or band or after school or NISMA solos, anything like that. And they are Isaac Reynolds, trumpet, Daniel Maurer, tuba, and Ada Lugo, trumpet. And though my journey as their conductor and their lesson teacher was cut short, I know they're going to contribute incredibly to the high school program, and I'm going to miss them and all of my 8th graders very much. And now Mrs. Gleason for a chorus.
Good evening. I get the pleasure of having the 8th graders for 2 years, and I will miss this group very much. I wish I could just keep them in case for chorus. I have some 8th grade chorus outstanding musicians: Jack Mara, Jonah Stone, Lillian Kinney, and Lillian Johnson. And also my 8th grade chorus achievement award, Imani Lampart, Daniel Maurer, and Isaac Reynolds. And now moving to the Resilience Award.
We were approached by Mrs. Blair and Mr. Taylor to present a new category of award this year in terms of our COVID shutdown, and this is the Resiliency Award. This is for students who have been bounced back and into schoolwork, and we're very, very proud of what they've accomplished. For Team Caring, I'm going to present this award to Giovanni Augusto. Giovanni is not the traditional student, but he has excelled at online learning at home. We are very proud of everything that he's accomplished and the fact that he is always coming to our Zoom meetings, that he's always asking questions, and that he's really striving to do his best. So for that, we appreciate Giovanni. Next up is Team Fairness.
I suppose the same applies to most of these awards. Our award winner is at every Zoom meeting. He has done every assignment. We've never had to chase after him during this shutdown one time. Maybe a bit of a surprise if in the traditional setting you saw that much zeal for education. So online does work for some students, and this particular student it works for very well, Kyle Perry. And here's Mr. Hazard for Team Respect.
So I'm very excited to be back up here to give this Resilience Award for Team Respect as well. And I think it goes for so many of you students watching, pretty much anybody that's clicked on this link. You've been resilient, the obstacle's been there, and you've found ways to push through. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about you tonight. So again, thank you in general to all of those students that have kept working during this difficult time. But for Team Respect, this girl in particular, not only her, but her family, when we were in session, her family was very involved, came to every parent conference, not because that there was an issue, but because they just wanted to have that communication between teachers and parents. It was always positive. If they weren't sure about something, they didn't hesitate to ask us questions. She doesn't hesitate to ask us questions. Since the closure, everything's been turned in. If she has questions, they come through one way or the other. Her Zoom meeting, she always pops in at some point, usually brings the puppy at some point. It's got a different sweater on almost every time. It's fun to see. But yeah, I mean, there's no doubt, I think these parents are doing a phenomenal job, and I think she's doing a phenomenal job in being resilient during this time period. Layla Lial. This time I'll turn it over to Mrs. Blair for the Kathy Haggerty Award.
Good evening, everyone. So at this time, we will move on to the specialty awards that are typically handed out to 8th grade students each year at the Moving Up ceremony. I am honored today to be presenting the Kathy Haggerty and the Marie Ella Tharp Awards this evening. Kathy Haggerty was a bubbly, outgoing, good-humored girl. Her interests were wide and varied, from athletics to chorus and playing the comic lead in the school musical production Bye Bye Birdie, only a few days before her death. Although she was a joiner and a born leader, Kathy was always available as a confidant for her friends and had sympathy for the problems of others, which was unusual for one her age. She could speak with confidence and intelligence with adults as well as her peers. When honor student Kathy died, the 1968 class lost a good friend and a valued leader. This year, we are pleased to present this award to Olivia Erf. Marie Ellatharp was a well-liked and dedicated science teacher who taught at Case Middle School from 1929 to 1961. Each year, one 8th grader is presented an award in her memory for outstanding performance in the field of science. This year, we are pleased to present this award to Ruth Angelica Quinal. I will now turn the program over to Mr. Taylor to announce the next award.
Good evening, and it's my pleasure to give out the Joan M. Jones Citizen of Fine Arts Award. This award is given in honor of Joan M. Jones, one of Watertown's leading musical figures in the community. Mrs. Jones retired from teaching music in the Watertown City School District after over 30 years of service. She was an icon in the community, and her name was affiliated with every major musical activity and organization in the city. The recipient of this award was chosen because he exemplifies the qualities needed to be highly successful in music. He was involved in all ensembles of the Case Music Program and is a highly motivated individual who achieved an outstanding level of music performance. He demonstrates exemplary work habits, attitude, and commitment to his success. It is my honor to present this award to Jonah Stone. Up next is Mrs. Phone.
Good evening. It is my honor to present the next two awards to some really great deserving kids. The Comptroller's Award, so the New York State Comptroller's Award is presented each year to a student who has excelled academically and has shown leadership potential by volunteering his or her time to serve the school or community. Comptroller DiNapoli sends his sincere congratulations and best wishes to the 8th grade class of 2020. This year's winner is Camden Corbett. Next is the Triple C Award. The New York State Attorney General's Office is delighted to continue the Triple C Awards program, a tradition which recognizes the character, courage, and commitment of New York's hardworking students. Whether excelling in academic pursuits, participating in community service, displaying leadership among their classmates, or overcoming personal challenges, they inspire and provide hope for the future. These are the students whom the Triple C Awards program was created to honor. This year's winners are Yadiel Feliciano and Connor Laporte. And back over to Mr. Taylor for our last award.
So I tell you, tonight's been a challenge because at Case Middle School, we have an abundance of fantastic kids. You know, I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm kind of a social person, and to not have anybody in the school, I think I'm driving Mrs. Smith and Mrs. Griffin and Mrs. Blair a little crazy, but I can't wait for you all to be back. Anyways, sorry. I'm proud to present the DAR Award. The DAR Youth Citizenship Award is presented by the Leray D. Chameau Daughters of the American Revolution to students who exhibit the highest levels of honor, service, courage, leadership, and patriotism. These students best represent the fundamentals of what makes us Americans and serve as role models to their peers. This year, it is my honor to present the DAR Award to Kira McDonald and Jack Mara. So that rounds out our awards presentations. And before we get started with the slideshow, I just want to give a huge shout out and thanks to Mrs. Van Wormer for putting this together. Because I don't know if any of you have ever done slideshows or not, but it takes a lot of time and effort. And she does it because she cares about CASE and she cares about the kids in our school. And I really appreciate it. All right, Mr. Shanley, take it away. All right, so I want to just add another shout out for Mrs. Van Warmer because that was amazing. Thank you very much. Big round of applause for Mrs. Van Warmer for all the hard work and effort that she did putting that together. I was excited. I didn't see it before, but that was fantastic. Mike, wait a minute. I'm not. Whoa. We're not done. What? Oh.
And I say no, and say what you doing, trying to do somebody cold. I just let the music come from my soul, so all of my people can stay on the floor. They got a brand new dance, you gotta move your muscle. A brand new dance, it's called a Cupid Shuffle. It don't matter if you're young or you're old. Here we go, we gon' show you how it goes. Right to the right, to the right, to the right, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. Gotta kick, gotta kick, gotta kick, now kick, now walk it by yourself. Now walk it by yourself. Let me see you do the Cupid.
Swayways, boys and girls and parents, I really want to thank you for a great year at Case Middle School. Be gracious, be kind, be humble, and give back. Good luck at the high school, and remember, we're only a bridge away.